Hello everyone. In this homework we are going to go over mean, median, mode, range, and standard deviation. So let's get right to it. And remember, you definitely have to have that TI-84 ready. Not for this question, no. This question we're just going to go over what we already know about mean, median, mode, and range. So remember what the mean is. Mean means average. And remember, when you calculate the mean, the average, you add up all of the numbers in the data set and then you divide by that number of numbers. But we are using the calculated TI-84 to do that automatically, so you're not going to do that even by hand ever again. You shouldn't be able, you shouldn't do that. Median, what does that mean? Median, when you drive on, don't drive on the median. That is the middle, the number in the middle of the data set. Remember, you have to rearrange that number, all those numbers in the data set from least to greatest. And that number in the middle is called the median. So we have the mean, which is the average, and then the median, which is the number in the middle of the data set, and that is called the median. Remember, you have to calculate the median. You must sort the numbers in the data set from least to greatest. Again, we're going to do this in the calculator. All right, so you don't even have to sort the numbers in the data set, but just remember, if you're doing it by hand, that when you sort the numbers from least to greatest, the number in the middle is the median. And remember, if there's two numbers in the middle and there's no number like specifically in the middle, you have to take those two numbers, add them, and then divide by 2. It's kind of like an average of those two numbers. What does the mode stand for? So the mode occurs, is the number that occurs the most in the data set. So if there is, like, if 7 occurs twice and no other number occurs that same amount of time or more than twice, that means 7 is the mode. Now there could be two modes. If there's a 7 that occurs twice and a 10 that occurs twice, 7 and 10 are the modes. And then the last one, which is range. What is range? And the range is the maximum number minus the minimum number. So very easy. If you have a data set that is long, you should sort those numbers in the calculator and then take the largest and subtract the smallest from it. And very easy, that is the range. So that's everything that you should have down, everything that you should know for this homework. So quickly, let's go ahead and do number 2. I'll do this one with you, and then you could go ahead and try some on your own. So it just says find the mean, mode, and range of this set of numbers. So we're going to bring that calculator up because we need that calculator. So in that calculator, please press Stat and then press Enter. So I have numbers in my list 2 and list 1. I'm going to go up to list 2 and clear it. So I'm going to clear list 2 and then press down. That's a trick that is just a quick way of clearing a list. You go up to L1, you press clear, and then you press down. And all of the numbers that were in the list are gone and erased. So when you put numbers in the list, you see this L1 on the bottom, it's a 2, you press enter and it's in the list right up here. So go ahead and put those numbers in. My next number is 3, my next number is 5, my next number is 7, my next number is 8, 10, 2 11s. These are already listed from least to greatest. 13, 15, 17, and 18. So what I usually do is, all right, so you see this, it says L113. Well, that means it's getting, the calculator is ready for the 13th number that you're inputting. So that means you have 12 numbers, that you should have 12 numbers in this data set. In the calculator, you have 12 numbers. Just check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I didn't skip any numbers. Hopefully I didn't make any mistakes, and that's it. So I have my L1 in there, and now I have to get the mean, the median, the mode, and then the range. So I'm just looking at this. This is a very easy data set here, and it's from least to greatest already. I'm looking at the mode the most. The number that occurs the most is 11. I'm going to put that down right now because really you could see it. You could basically see it right there. All right. If you were doing this by hand, you would check off the old ways that you check off 2, you check off over here, you check off over here, you check off over here. In the middle, you should have 11, and that would be the median. But I'm going to just do this. We're going to do this right in the calculator right now. So we're going to press Stat, right, and it's going to go to this screen. If we press Enter right now, we just go back to the list. So we're going to press Stat, and we're going to move over to Calc. And one variable stats is what we want. We have one variable stats. We're going to press Enter. And do you see how it says List 2? That was the question that I had, that I was working on before, and I had 2 lists. I only have 1 list, so I'm going to change that List 2 to List 1. So I'm going to press second function, and then see L1 is right here. And I have L1 now up here. That's what you should have. If you had L1 already, you didn't have to do what I just did. Then you press Enter, Enter, and Enter 3 straight times, and you're on this page. And this is where the important numbers are. So we have X with a line on top, and X with the line on top is, or it's a bar, X with the bar, like kind of like this, X with the bar is mean. So we have X equals, the mean equals 10. The median is down here. You press down, and do you see it? There we go. Median, 10.5. You don't have to figure anything out. The mode occurs the most, and the way you could see that is in the list, right? So that doesn't come up on this screen, but I'm just saying when it occurs twice, when one number occurs twice, obviously that is the mode, and we have that down. The range. So the range is the max subtracted by the min. All right, so I'm going to put that down. I'm going to put 18 minus 2. And obviously that is 16, so that is the range. Sometimes the range is listed like this, 2, and the word 2 to 18. Sometimes. All right, so that is everything. By the way, the sigma x, if they asked you for standard deviation, the standard deviation of this list is 5. So they didn't ask that for here, but if you did put that, if there was one more question they would ask is standard deviation. Remember, standard deviation is how far the data set is spread apart from the mean. So do you see how, like, this is 10, right? The mean is 10. Look, there's a 2 there and there's an 18. That's pretty, it's spread apart. And the further that standard deviation is from 0, the more spread apart the data set is from the mean, the actual mean. So that's it. So take a look at number 3. And I'll do this one with you as well because, again, it has standard deviation, and then what does standard deviation mean? So we're going to go back to stat, and we're going to press enter. We're going to clear that list. You go up to L1, and then you press clear, and then go down, and you're clearing that list. This list is not listed in least to greatest, so we are just going to put it, though, 123, which is going to put what we see right in following each number. We're going to do anything by hand. 124, 132, 154, 132, 160. So it might be a little difficult to look at this way without them being listed from least to greatest, and it doesn't really show, like, your eyes have to bounce around to see exactly which number is the mode, and in this case they're not asking you the mode, but if they did, all you would have to do is press stat, and you see this sort A. This stands for sort ascending, and 3 stands for sort descending. You want numbers from least to greatest, so you're going to press sort ascending, so it's 2, and then you have to tell it what list to sort. So I'm going to press second function L1, and I'm going to press enter, and it's going to say done. When you go back to the list, it sorted it for you. And in this case, you don't need it because the mode is not even axed. But if you did have a mode axed, you could see now 100, 111, 123, 124, 132 is twice 154, 160. So if the mode was axed, that's how you would sort that list. All right, so we didn't need to do that. So that was just extra for me to show you. So I'm going to press stat. We do need the mean, median, range, and standard deviation. So we are going to go over to calc, and we're going to go one variable stats. It is on L1. It should be from the last question. Anyway, so we're going to press enter 3 more times, and we are going to get that mean of 129.5. And remember that mean, that X with the bar on top, that means mean. Median is listed right below. So you press the down arrow and there's the median. The median is 128. The range is the max minus the min. So we're talking about 160 minus 100. And that is going to be 60. So the range is 60. Standard deviation is up here, you see it? And it says round to the nearest tenth. So 18.8. Okay, so what does the standard deviation of 18.8 mean in this case? Well, look at the mean. The mean is 129.5, but we have numbers, at least the min is 100 and the max is 160. That means that the data is spread far across, it is spread away from the mean. All right, so it's the further the data is spread from the mean, the higher the standard deviation. And this standard deviation is 18.8. So we say that the standard deviation, what does it mean in this case? It means that the data set is spread further away from that mean. So what does it mean? Well, it means that 18.8, the data points, these data points, and when I'm talking about the numbers, are set further from the mean, so there's a higher deviation. And for people that know what the word deviation is, it deviates from the mean, meaning how spread apart that is, how far it is from the mean. When a number deviates, if it's not that far from the mean, that means the standard deviation is closer to 0. In a data set with all of the same numbers, the standard deviation would basically be 0. All right, because that doesn't deviate from the mean. If I had like seven numbers, all 50s, and you go to calculate the mean would obviously be 50. But the standard deviation would be 0 because it doesn't deviate at all from the mean. All right, they're all 50. So that's basically what that standard deviation is, and how to explain it. So go ahead and see if you can put these numbers into your calculator. Remember, press Stat, and then you're editing, and then you're going up and clearing that list, clear list, and then press down, and all of those numbers will go away, and then you're ready for your next list. Go ahead, you could try it, answer these questions, press pause now. So you should have 11 numbers in for L1, and it should be ready. It should tell you that L1, it's ready for the 12th number, but you don't have a 12th number because you have 11 numbers in this data set. So let's go ahead and try to figure out the mean, and let's see if you figured it out correctly. So you press Stat right now, and you are going to go over to Calc, and you're in one variable, Stats. You're on list 1, so that everything is good. You press Enter 3 more times, and you have your mean, which is right up top with the X and the bar on top of it. The median is down below, so you have to press the down button, and you see the median is 5. So the median, the number in the middle, and the average is 5. So take a look at the range. So we're going to take a max of 9 minus 1, right? So that's the max, and the min, when you subtract them, you get 8. And that standard deviation, let's go ahead and look at the standard deviation. It's 2.66. So it says round to the nearest tenth, so we're going to round that. Instead of 2.6, we're going to round it to 2.7, because the next number is a 6, and that means it goes up to 7 when that next number is above 5 or above. So what does the standard deviation mean in this case? So you could put this for the standard deviation. What does it mean in this case, the 2.7? It means that the data is typically spread 2.7 units above and below the mean. I say typically because it's not exactly 2.7, but the spread is around that. And you're talking about the numbers. It's not just the lowest compared to from the lowest and the highest number, the greatest number. You're talking about standard deviation and what the numbers are around, away from the mean itself. And you can tell this mean right here is 5, and this the lowest, the minimum number is 1, and the mean is 5, and the maximum number is 9. That's not a 2.7 spread, but altogether it's typically numbers are 2.7 away from the mean itself, and that's it. So go ahead and see if you could do that next problem, number 5. Number 5 says answer each question. It's the same type of question. So remember, go to the Stat button, press Enter, go up, and then clear out that list by pressing down, clear and down, and then you can start. Go ahead, put the numbers in, answer these questions, and we'll come back to review. And you could press pause now. All right, so hopefully you do have all of these numbers right here. We have a mean of 18, a median of 15.5 right here. We have a range of 32 minus 10, which is 22. Standard deviation is right here, 7.1. All right, stays at 7.1, rounds to nearest tenths. And what does the standard deviation mean in this case? It means that the data is typically spread 7.1 units above and below the mean. And that's it. So number 6, go ahead. Same thing. Put those numbers in, answer the questions. We'll come back and review your answers. Press pause and try the problem now. Okay, so hopefully you did get these numbers and these answers. Let's see. If you have the data set in correctly, you will get the mean of 2,822. The median is down below, so you have to go ahead and press down. And there's the median, 2,139. The range is the max, which is 6,160, minus the min, which is 1,040, equals 5,120. And then the standard deviation is right here, 1,754 and 1/10, which is going to round up to 2.2. What does the standard deviation mean in this case? That means that the data is typically spread 1,754.2 units above and below the mean. And that is that. So go ahead and see if you could try these questions. So this question, number 7, the following table shows the heights in inches of players on opening night roster of 2015-2016 New York Knicks. The population is standard deviation is approximately, and that's all it asks you for the standard deviation. So go ahead, see if you could put that into the calculator and calculate the standard deviation. Press pause now. Okay, I just put the numbers in, and there's 13 of them, so I counted 13, and just to make sure that I inputted them correctly, you never know, so I'm going to press Stat and Calc, move over to Calc, and then press Enter 4 times, and I will get my standard deviation. My standard deviation is this number right here, 3.49. And when it rounds to the nearest tenth, it becomes 3.5, so my standard deviation is number 1. By the way, it does have 79.7. This is the mean. All right, so if it did ask you, this question could be changed and said, what's the mean? They're not going to ask you that on a Regents test. But if they said what the mean was, then that would be it. This number right here, 13, is just the amount of numbers in this data set. And that's it. And 80 is the median. So all of these numbers do have meaning, but they're only asking for one. It's the population as far as the standard deviation goes, and that is 1. So we have one last question. The 15 members of the French club sold candy bars to help fund their trip to Quebec. Has to be a lot of candy bars that they sell. The table below shows the number of candy bars each member sold. So we're talking about 15 members. So we have 5 and then 3. So it's 5 times 3. This is basically 15 numbers referring to the data. Which statement is false? So go ahead and see if you could work it out. I'm going to go ahead getting started right now, entering all of these numbers into my list. I'm going to clear out my L1 and I'm going to get started. You get started right now and see if you can come up with which statement is false. Go ahead. You can press pause, put your numbers in, and see if you can get the answer. Press pause now. So I put all of these numbers in, and if you don't believe me, here they are right here. All the numbers are in, and we are ready to go. So I'm pressing stat and calc, and I'm going to press enter 4 times. So we have this first one, and we're looking for something that is false here. So the mode is the best measure of central tendency for the data. For this data, the mode, the number that occurs the most, would be the best measure of that central tendency. Let's see if I'm not really sure about that one, so I'm going to skip it. I'm going to go to right to 2. Does the data have 2 outliers? Remember, outlier is a number that is far away from the rest of the numbers. So you could say that 0 is an outlier, and 120, pretty much there's 2 outliers with 0 and 120. So this is true. I'm going to put true here. And they're looking for something that's false. So if this is true, 2 is out. And now we're talking about the median. Let's go look down. I didn't even see the median. It's 53. This is true. So looking for something false, and that's out. So let's look at the range. That's easy enough. Max 120 minus the min of 0. 120 minus 0 is 120. This is true. So the only one that is false, I mean, going through them, like I was a little confused about the mode, but this is the one that's false. And this is the only one that's false. So 1 is the answer. And mode usually is never, they always try to trick you saying the mode, is that the best measure of central tendency for the data? It's usually never the best measure. And the reason why is because mode is just the number that occurs the most. That doesn't tell you really anything about the data set. All right, it's just telling you which number occurred the most. And that's basically it. So hopefully you found that video helpful and you were able to answer all these questions and you have a good handle on how to use that TI-84, because it is important. See you next time.